Hi, community. Welcome back to another episode of Allie's Take. I'm really happy to be here with you today. And I have some exciting news to share with you. So, this is going to be the last episode of Allie's Take before the holidays. So, I hope you're enjoying your holiday season. I know it can be a little bit hectic and stressful. So, I hope you're taking time to find some moments of peace throughout this season. And coming next year in January, I have two very special guests to start off the year. And I will have Coach Richard and Coach Michelle joining me for the podcast. I guess this is a podcast as well. Well, you might be YouTubing or possibly the podcast. So however you listen, I really hope you'll join me. And I really do appreciate you being here today. So thank you for taking the time to be here. And I hope what I share with you today can be insightful and helpful. So today, what I want to talk to you about and share with you are three things that would have made my insomnia recovery journey just a little bit easier. So I want to preface this by saying, when we're going through a recovery journey and experiencing insomnia, we're probably consuming a lot of content. We're reading a lot of material, articles, listening to podcasts, recovery stories, hearing a lot of advice. And that's all well and good. But obviously, everybody has to go through their own recovery process and do the work of recovery. And nobody can do that for us. So we can hear advice and tips, forever, and it won't necessarily change anything because the work of recovery is an experiential journey, and we have to have the experience and go through it in order to get to the other side. So that being said, I still think these are some really valuable things that could have really been helpful for me along my journey. And maybe it can just make your journey just a bit easier. So I'm going to share these with you now. So the first thing I want to talk about today is how much I was hard on myself. So number one is stop beating yourself up. Allow yourself to be human. I think sometimes the biggest way, the most profound way that we can show ourselves self-kindness and self-care is to allow ourselves to be human. And that means we let ourselves have support because all humans need support. And so, support can come in a lot of different ways and look a lot of different ways for everybody, but allowing yourself to have support when you need it is really, really important. So for me, that really came to a lot of it was around the meds, the sleep meds. I had a lot of fear and inner conflict around the meds. And it wasn't until later in my journey that I finally met that fear, made peace with the meds, and it was incredibly, incredibly helpful and liberating. So although we're not ever going to give medical advice here, of course, you have to, speak with your doctor around any medication or changes. But it was really important on my journey to understand that I had a lot of fear around the meds, and I would beat myself up every time I would use them. So what I just want to share with you is make peace with those sleep meds and take the meds if they are supportive. Let them assist you. Let them be a bridge that can guide your way here. I lost so much time being afraid of the meds, and with that fear gone, the meds can just be a supportive gesture from time to time. And the freedom from that fear is just incredibly liberating, incredibly liberating. So the second point I want to share with you today is stop fighting with reality, right? I did this a lot. Bargaining with present reality is just not helpful. I would always find myself saying things like, if I would have just gotten a couple more hours or any hours, then I'd feel better and I'd be okay. And it just really wasn't helpful because reality is what it is. And arguing for our limitations will only confirm them. And they're not true. That's what I found out. They're definitely not true. They were false fear-based beliefs. We may not feel our best. but we can feel all sorts of emotion, the full spectrum of human emotion, and we can still be okay. Thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, they always pass. And the less we focus in on them, and the more we just allow space for them to be there, they move on and fade really very much on their own. We learn to coexist with the discomfort. And when we do, the brain learns that it's not dangerous to experience all of these, the full spectrum of human emotion, including fear and anxiety and sadness and, depression. All of these are normal human emotions to experience from time to time. And so when we allow that experience to be there without trying to fight, fix, change, or manage it, things get a lot easier when we're not fighting with reality. And it fades very much naturally and organically on its own when we learn to coexist with it. Number three, stop trying to be perfect. Oh my goodness, was this a big one for me? In fact, I often call myself a recovering perfectionist because, wow, I had so much to do here in regards to not trying to be perfect all the time, allowing myself to be human and admit that I needed support. That was a big step. Trying to do everything perfect in recovery would backfire every time. But when I was willing to fail and make mistakes and keep moving forward, that's when I learned the most. Attempting to manage every aspect of my recovery was just another way of being attached to the outcome. And that didn't serve me either. And that did not work well. Recovery can't be controlled, it has a current and a flow all its own. If we can just allow it to be and that process to happen, it will. But the more we interfere and try to control and micromanage it, the more it kind of stops us up. So we can, let it have its rhythm. And the best we can do is learn to ride those waves, right? Recovery is nothing if not a bumpy ride. And there's going to be waves, there's going to be ups, and there's going to be downs in this whole journey, but all waves settle with time. So know that, it really will settle. So that's the final point I wanted to make. And I said this a little bit in the beginning, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Allowing ourselves to be human is really the greatest act of self-care. We don't have to be superhuman and hold ourselves to standards that nobody could live up to. We get to be human. And this journey is a very humbling experience where we learn that we have a lot more capability to be with the discomfort than we might think we do. So I hope some of that was helpful for you today. Maybe you can take away some of that will work for you. And as always, I really appreciate you tuning in. You can find me on Instagram at Sacred Sleep Coach is my handle. And you can always find me at the Sleep Coach School as well. So go to our website there, and I'd be happy to speak to you one-on-one or support you in whatever way you need. We have amazing programs. So go to thesleepcoachschool.com and check it out. I appreciate your time today. I'll see you in January. Have a really wonderful holiday season, and thanks so much for tuning in.
Hi, it's me, Coach Daniel, and I hope you found the video you just saw full of inspirational content and full of educational content as well, because that's really what we try to do here in the school. We try to educate and inspire. And if you're finding that things are clicking for you and sleep is happening easier and you're leaving the struggle, please let us know in the comment section, because we live for that. We live for hearing how somebody is finding sleep and life becoming lighter and easier. And not only are you doing us a huge favor as sleep coaches and filling our tank with that gas that makes us never want to stop doing this, but you're also helping the community. You're helping by inspiring other people, and by commenting, you're telling YouTube that this was interesting, and YouTube feeds our content to more people so that they can discover our teachings and things get easier for them. So again, if you found things getting easier for you, please let us know in the comment section. We can't wait to hear from you.